Well, my next guest says the president's recent actions are unlikely to persuade Americans about this war, steady markets, reassure allies, or pressure Iran. Joining me now is Richard Haass. He is president emeritus at the Council on Foreign Relations, also senior counselor at Centerview Partners. Richard, great to have you. It seems obviously like, all of the things one might have hoped that the president's speech and maybe the policy push were to achieve is not necessarily happening in your view. You sometimes hear this argument that there's a bit of strategic ambiguity being imposed here. You don't buy that?
Well, it's certainly being imposed. It's ambiguous. But the question is whether this is a time for ambiguity. And I would say if you want to do all the things you just referred to, steady markets and reassure allies, particularly those in the region, signal Iran, it's probably a time to choose. I don't know about you, but I certainly expect that when a president asked for prime time, 20 minutes to speak to the American people, he was going to come forward with a policy. And I thought it was more likely to look for an exit ramp. Possibly, though, he could have escalated in terms of the Strait of Hormuz. The one thing I didn't expect is essentially we would know more about American policy after the speech than we did before it.
What are the plausible exit ramps you think could have been taken and presumably could still be taken?
Well, the most likely one is negotiation. You would try to reopen negotiations on the nuclear file, essentially go back to the kinds of conversations we were having with the Iranians beforehand, to place a ceiling on capabilities, some type of inspections regime. In return, they would get some sanctions relief and so forth. I don't think there's a military solution to the nuclear issue. And on the Strait, it gets more complicated. But I would basically try to bring Iran in. Create a new authority, a new governing authority for the Strait that included some of the local countries. We could threaten to blockade the Strait, and I put forward an idea that we would blockade it in the Gulf of Oman, be militarily not very demanding operation. But I think the principle ought to be that the Strait of Hormuz is either open for everybody or closed to everybody, and closed to Iran, and closed to the countries like China or India or Pakistan or Turkey it's been exporting oil to. Iran can't be in a position to play favorites and to treat this like an internal waterway.
There's a lot of talk that the incentives for the Iranian regime are not yet really pushing toward any kind of ceasefire or flexibility or perhaps negotiation yet.
You might be right. I think the Iranians feel that they've probably got more staying power than we do. The time might be more their friend than ours, and they want to see what kind of leverage they can get. In an odd sort of way, we've done so much to them physically that there's not a hell of a lot more we can credibly threaten. The one thing we ought not to do, let me just hasten to add, is what the president talked about, going after, say, their power plants or their energy infrastructure. I worry that Iran would react similarly around the region. And what they did the other day with Qatar and knocking out some of their gas infrastructure, they could go after the water and energy infrastructure of all their neighbors, essentially say, if you're going to do this to us, we're going to do it to everybody else. That would be a calamity for the region and for the world. So I really would urge that we not go down that path.